Around 70% of all fire services in Ohio are performed by volunteers, and due to a shortage, the state fire marshal says they are in desperate need of more.
NBC4's Jonathan Jackson spoke with the fire marshal and some local fire chiefs about the important role volunteers play in responding to incidents. Jonathan, what have you learned?
Well, guys, the state fire marshal tells me that volunteer fire departments serve around 11.5 million people across Ohio. And I spoke with one of those departments in Central Ohio who says they heavily rely on volunteer support.
This isn't just a job. This is a lifestyle. This is what we do. This is how we live.
As fire chief of the Marianne Township Fire Department, Keisha Amspaugh knows all too well the dedication and hard work it takes to become a firefighter, especially since she started out over a decade ago as a volunteer.
You know, we could have 2-3 volunteers show up on one run, so it's nothing for us to take 2 volunteer runs at a time.
And she says those volunteers are crucial because even though their department has a few full-time and part-time staff, it's the volunteers who give them the extra support needed in a crisis.
I have no doubt that within 5 years, if we don't do something, we will probably have some volunteer fire departments go away.
State Fire Marshal Kevin Reardon says the shortage of volunteer firefighters could slowly turn into a crisis. In the state of Ohio, there are 1,180 fire departments, with approximately 70% of all fire service in the state provided by volunteers. It's why earlier this year, the Ohio Task Force on Volunteer Fire Service was formed through Governor Mike DeWine, with the goal to improve and encourage volunteer fire service in Ohio.
We're going to try to help them find ways to survive because the safety of the public is at stake. What are these communities going to do if their volunteer fire department goes away?
And firefighters like Amspaugh say it's a responsibility like no other, one she hopes others take part in.
These are our friends, this is our community, and we go on calls where we know people, and it puts you in an absolutely different perspective.
Now, some barriers for volunteer firefighters include the lack of pay and also training. However, the Ohio Task Force is working to change that by providing that training as well as equipment and also federal funding to these departments in order to keep them running. Local for you in Reynoldsburg, I'm Jonathan Jackson, NBC4.